Hey, how's it going? The computer's acting up really strangely today. Uh, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Um, hold on just a second. Da, 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 da. Hold on. Let's kill that. Okay, I think we're here. Are we here? Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry about that. Things seem to blurp a little bit for me this morning in terms of the videos and getting things started and so forth and so on. But I think we are here. I still don't see your comments moving. Oh, yes, there are. There are all your comments. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our usual daily get-together, 10:30 in the morning, live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines and stories from around the world and nearby as they affect our lives here in Puerto Vallarta. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and I'm always happy to be here holding hands, answering questions, and keeping us inspired and getting inspired from you as well. So if you are new to the broadcasts, please let us know by writing the word new in your comments. And if you've been here before, it's always great to see you back. Today we have a nice combination of news, including some specific requests that one of our readers asked for clarification. That would be Joe Wozik, and I'm glad to see that Joe is here. She's looking for less racism and more inclusiveness. She's moving to Puerto Vallarta. I don't know who she is, but I'd be interested in reading more about this. And it's great to see a lot of folks that we see every morning. So nice to see you all. Michael Young is doing his homework along with his husband on their move to Puerto Vallarta. Betsy says, good morning from Emiliano Zapata. Just great to see all these familiar faces. My dear friend Eric is here. This is awesome. So today we're going to look at a couple of clarifications that you asked for. There's my sister, Maria Leonor, in Mexico City with her grandkids, the Mariano and Renata. They are the son and daughter of my niece Robin and her wife. So it's great to see family around as well. So nice to see you all. As I was saying, we're going to have news about, yes, of course, we have to talk about El Arrayan. This is very sad. In fact, let's just have a brief commentary about this. I think we all felt the earth move a little yesterday when we read on Facebook that Carmen and Claudia announced that they are closing El Arrayan. We think about these things or these people or these entities or these elements of our lives that are always there, and we don't mean to take them for granted, but we know that they're always there. And yesterday, when news were released about the fact that Carmen and Claudia are closing their wonderful traditional Mexican restaurant, El Arrayan, I think I felt like the rug was pulled from under my feet. It's not as though I am a regular client. I've loved their food and I've visited them many times through the years, but one way or another, whenever we hear about something that we know and love going away, it is heartbreaking to a certain extent. I've had the pleasure and the honor of knowing Carmen and Claudia since they began, and they've always been two very creative, innovative, um, hardworking women, and I trust that they know why they're doing what they're doing, and I have no doubt that whatever new project they embark on is going to be absolutely wonderful. And I will miss their duck carnitas, and I will miss their salsa that they make that you can purchase. Maybe we should all go to El Arrayan very quickly and just buy as much salsa as we can before they close. I don't know the exact date, but if they're still open for business or for takeout, I would strongly recommend you cater to them, or they cater to you. Who caters to whom? You go and shop with El Harayan, because it's really a wonderful restaurant. Okay, back to our news. Today we have COVID related news from all over. More promises made by the president of Mexico regarding the highway to Guadalajara, and a brief explanation of combis as requested, as I mentioned earlier, and a couple of other odds and ends. So now that we're all comfortable and ready to go, let's get going with our headlines. Okay, Tapalpa, one of the magic towns in Jalisco and one of the original municipalities of hope, is now announcing curfew. You may recall that early on in the pandemic, there was a small group of municipalities that were called municipalities of hope, because there was no COVID in these municipalities. One of them was the municipality of Tapalpa. And now, unfortunately, this beautiful mountain town, which is definitely in my bucket list, has now announced a curfew at 9 p.m. every night. If anybody is out and about on the street, they will be sanctioned. And of course, this measure pretends to help decrease the number of cases of COVID in the municipality. Then we hear from the governor of Yucatan, Mauricio Vila. I believe it's Yucatan. Let me confirm. Yes. Mauricio Vila let us know, and this is probably as a result of that meeting that we discussed yesterday at the Secretary of Government, that moving forward, the pandemic stoplight that we have been getting from the federal government every week is now going to be delivered every 2 weeks. And it will be up to individual governors to decide to implement it or not, and how. This is as a result of all the friction that has been going on between the guidelines that are put into place regarding how the decision is made on which states are in the red or in the orange or in the yellow. Of course, right now, no single state in Mexico is in the yellow, but we'll have to see how this unfolds in terms of decisions other states make for themselves. And certainly, we know that the state of Jalisco has been dancing to its own tune for a while. No new news from the governor yet regarding as to any changes on what happens if and when we push the emergency button. In Colima, things are a little rough. Unfortunately, Colima has passed the barrier of 2,000 cases of COVID-19. So now the Colima governor is sending an initiative to the state Congress to make the use of face masks obligatory, including sanctions and fines and other punishment that would make the decision obligatory and mandatory for everybody. This has not been approved just yet, but again, we start to see a number of either states or cities that are getting a little stricter in terms of hoping to find ways to make the citizenship wear the darn masks, which we know is the simplest way to take care of yourself and people around you. Hugo Lopez Gatell made a short video yesterday, which is available on Facebook, in which he says that the progress of the pandemic decreased during the month of July, but of course we continue to need to be confined and we continue to have to maintain ourselves at home and stay patient and continue to follow the discipline that we've been following. He pretty much credits the fact that it is us citizens that are taking matters into our own hands. In his Twitter account, he says, even though the pandemic is it's slower, it continues. We are calling for people to be cautious, disciplined, and patient. It is absolutely necessary that we limit our mobility, particularly as it relates to recreational activities. And you can watch the video there if on his Twitter account and also on his Facebook page. This news are a little bit of a downer, but they make perfect sense here in Puerto Vallarta and, of course, everywhere else. The Secretary of Mobility in Mexico, which is the federal secretary that controls public transportation, has indicated that public transportation must circulate without air conditioning and obviously with windows open. This is a safety concern if you're hopping on a bus, on a public transportation bus, on a city bus. You may not want to do so if the windows are closed. We talked about this briefly the other day. Do we hop on a cab? Do we hop on an Uber? If the Uber has air conditioning on and no windows open, it probably makes more sense to keep the windows open, even if with our humidity, the ride is not going to be very, very pleasant. And speaking of transportation, the New York Times put out this great article in which they show how airplanes are cleaned today. There's a video attached to it. So this may come as this may be a bit comforting for those of you who have to travel places and have to board a plane to get from one place to another. I think it must be a very nerve-wracking experience, but hopefully this video and this article will bring some comfort to you. No AC is brutal, but COVID-19 is brutal as well, Terry. What can I tell you? We mentioned yesterday that Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is traveling through nearby states. He went to Guadalajara and then proceeded to Tepic, and then he's moving north and then over to Baja California. And in one of his statements, he again committed to concluding the highway from Puerto Vallarta to Guadalajara. Of course, he doesn't specifically say when, but he claims he's also going to concession another highway that will be faster from Compostela to Tepic, so that there is more movement heading north and to the beaches north of that highway. So he had already threatened the construction company responsible for the highway from Puerto Vallarta to Guadalajara, the last stretch that is missing from Las Varas, from Compostela to Puerto Vallarta. He said, you guys have better finish this soon. You have all the permits, you have all the land, so hopefully this is going to happen sometime soon. I mean, it's been happening for years now, and now we don't know exactly when it's going to happen. I have two articles that have to do with El Marro. El Marro is a very powerful, very important member of the cartel in Mexico. Marro means sledgehammer, and he was captured. He is the head of the Santa Rosa de Lima cartel in Guanajuato, and it is because of the pressure and the tensions between this cartel and the government that we've seen recently an increase of violent activity in the state. So I have two articles for you in English so that you can at least get a sense as to who he is, what happened, and why this is important. One of them comes from Yahoo News. The other one comes from El Universal in Mexico City. And you can read this to get a sense as to what this capture means and what the government is hoping to accomplish with all kinds of trials and questioning and so forth and so on that goes on along with that. Let me take a quick look at your comments. As always, if you put the letter Q before your questions, it helps me make a difference between whether you're having a lovely conversation amongst yourselves and things that I might be able to help address. Let me take a quick look. Beam, 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 beam. Um, Day 3 in quarantining in Calgary, Canada. Um, are you guys is this an obligation when you travel to Canada? I'm just curious, or if you're choosing to quarantine just for your own safety and the safety of others around you. Feel free to comment on that, Michal. I am just curious about that. Um, let's see. Pam, 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 pam. That's wonderful, Logan. I hope you guys have a great time. Please say hello to Carmen and Claudia for me. Tell them that we wish them much success with whatever new ventures they undertake. Um, yes, we talked about this yesterday, that all the school will be available online. There will not be in person classes. And we know that the government of Jalisco will follow the federal guidelines as far as how this is going to happen. La 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 la. No AC is brutal. We are talking about this. Okay, so I think, oh, there's a question here. I could not find the Facebook group for Versalles that I talked about yesterday. It is an area that you're considering. Okay, I will gladly find the name of the group, and the name of the group is called La Versalles. And this is the restaurant Facebook group that restaurant owners are hoping um, to cross promote together and make sure that they make the whole neighborhood more interesting for people that are looking for a good meal. La Versalles, and I will be sure to include that with the show notes at the end of the show. Speaking of questions, yesterday I received one, and we're always happy to address questions. Joe Wozik, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name properly, Joe, um, says that we talked about the combis, and can I give an explanation of the combi service and what happened? And I said I would gladly do that, and here we are. So here goes my explanation about combis. Back in the 1950s, Volkswagen designed and produced this vehicle called Type 2. That was the official and private within the company name of the vehicle. Of course, we know that Type 1 vehicle is what we know as the Beetle. So Type 2 was the second type of vehicle that Volkswagen produced. Of course, it was known with different names in different places of the world. It was known as microbus, camper, combi with a K, transporter, and it was even known as pau de forma let me move that about. Pau de forma, which means loaf of bread. That was the way it was known in Portugal. And of course, in Mexico, it became known as a combi. So combi became a vehicle that is used as a small passenger van, and combi service began in Mexico City and large cities throughout Mexico. And it is not a bus because it is not making as many stops or driving as slowly. It is not a taxi cab, although you could call Uber today and say, I want a minivan. It is a hybrid form of public transportation that gets you faster. It's more expensive than a bus, less expensive than a taxi cab. You ride it with other passengers. Other passengers go on board a combi, and they go on and off wherever they need to or have to. We have that kind of a service here in Puerto Vallarta, but I don't remember who runs it or who supervises it, and it's usually to go between Puerto Vallarta and Nuevo Vallarta. Anyhow, the whole thing about the combis came about a couple of days ago because this man was there was this combi that was stopped in traffic, and this guy and another guy just jumped on the combi and started attempting to steal from the passengers, and the passengers would not hear of it. They started to beat the crap out of this man. The other man escaped, and what ended up happening is that this guy ended up on the street butt naked. In Mexico's finest tradition, nothing deterred or prevented people from making fun of it, this musician decided to create the combi song and put up a Facebook video immediately. And he became a YouTube video superstar immediately. His song went viral. There were, of course, cartoons that were published in newspapers about the man. And of course, in truly traditional Mexico, you can now purchase your very own combi thief piñata if you wish to do that. Coming soon to a traditional market near you. Of course, we know everybody has a piñata. Well, I don't have a piñata, but Donald Trump has his piñata. Hugo Lopez Gatell has his own piñata. And of course, now the combi thief has his own piñata. And of course, this is going to become a butt joke for the next week or two, and then we're going to forget all about it. Is this type of violence new? Of course not. Is it exclusive to Mexico? Definitely not. Street justice, as Frank O'Grady has just called this, is something that has been happening all over the place for many years, for many decades, in different countries, in different styles. The only difference is that now combis and other modes of transportation, as a security measure, have cameras. So now we get to find out about this more easily than before. But it'll become no more and no less than a butt joke, no different than the butt joke about Donald Trump and the Yosemites. Do you guys remember them, Josie and the Pussycats? I mean, we had Josie and the Pussycats in the 70s, and it went like this. So who's to say that we couldn't now have Donald Trump and the Yosemites? I mean, I think that would make a fabulous cartoon. Anyhow, it is Yosemite, right? Yosemite? Please let me know, because I've always called it Yosemite, and I am almost certain that it is called Yosemite, but I'm not sure after watching Donald Trump's blunder on national television. The Yosemites. Love it. Anyhow, that was my brief. I hope that answered your question regarding what happens with the combis and what is combi service and what happened yesterday. And I think nothing more will come of this. I'm sure the combi thief has been apprehended. I'm sure he'll serve time, and I'm sure he will steal again. Let's take a quick look at the weather. 29 degrees Celsius feels like 34 Fahrenheit. 34 Celsius Fahrenheit. It is 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity is low compared to yesterday. It's only 76%, but there is no chance of rain. So today it's probably going to be a warm day. The weather forecast actually indicates that we will get rain in the evening and overnight. Tomorrow, Thursday, we can expect rain in the evening, and Friday as well. So hopefully the days will not be too warm as we continue to survive our summer and hope for cooler weather in the month of October. It seems so far away still. Let me see. We have a bunch of leisurely headlines to share. Some of them have to do with local, others have to do with not so local. But once we've gotten past the combi explanation, I'm just wanting to make sure that I'm not missing any questions. Lots of comments, lots of comments, lots of comments. No questions. So I'm going to move right along. If you're a television watcher like myself, please know that the service Disney Plus is coming to Mexico and Latin America in November. Originally, Disney licensed some of its content to Amazon Prime, but that was a contract that was that lasted for a year, and now it is expiring. So now Disney Plus is launching in Mexico. If you are a fan of Disney productions, Pixar films, Marvel Comics, Star Wars, and National Geographic documentaries, you may want to consider subscribing to the service, which will probably be available through an app that you can access at home with your Roku or your Apple TV or similar device. I've been fearing having to learn TikTok because everybody's talking about it, But of course, now Instagram is coming up with their own version of TikTok. So maybe, just maybe, I don't have to learn TikTok. I wonder if you guys use TikTok. Maybe we should have a uh, a poll about this at some point. Anyhow, Instagram has announced something called Reels, which is a 15-second video platform that looks exactly like that other 15-second platform. Find out more about it on this article from our friends at Vox. Um, this came to us from, oh, that's very clever, Michael. I love it. I love it. Um, I'll tell you what, I'll start over if you send me some pad thai right now. No, I'm just kidding. Um, New York Times. I love the New York Times, as you can tell. There's this great article that is called 5 Minutes That Will Make You Love 21st Century Composers. What they've done is they've spoken to important 21st century movers and shakers as to what kind of new music they are listening to. The article says that we are going to find some music that is meditative, some music that is explosive. So if you're curious about 21st century composers, this is something that you may want to take a look at. We also found out through Catalejo, a local cultural website, that the International Film Festival in Guadalajara will take place from the 20th to the 27th of November this year. We don't know exactly how or where. Oh, it will take place at the University of Guadalajara, the Cineteca, or the movie library at the university. Needless to say, I'm sure they're going to have all kinds of special guidelines so that the event can go on in a safe fashion. And of course, we couldn't end the day without announcing that there is now an official trailer for Ratched, the new miniseries coming to Netflix, the creation of Ryan Murphy, in which we get to explore the life of famous nurse Ratched before one flew over the cuckoo's nest. So this is probably going to be a fabulous period piece, like most of the series that Ryan Murphy does, both for Netflix and for other networks. Let me take a look. I see a couple of questions, or I saw a couple of questions go by. This doesn't have a Q before, but this is a good question. There is no mandatory 14-day quarantine after arriving in PV, or at least not that I know of. This is a complicated question. Who has the best empanadas? It's an awesome question, Barbara, but there are Mexican-style empanadas. There are Colombian and Venezuelan-style empanadas. There's different variations, but it's an awesome question. I don't believe I have a specific answer for you because, you know, if I go to a bakery, I will have Mexican-style empanadas, which are actually French in origin. If you go to an Argentinian restaurant, they have their own kinds of empanadas, which are usually savory. Colombian and Venezuelan have a different name, but there's many great empanadas to be had out and about. If anybody has suggestions about great empanadas, I'd love to hear them. Let's see. No questions, asks Michael. Sometimes we have questions and sometimes we don't, Michael. What can I tell you? How do I tell alligators from crocodiles? I don't know if that's a joke or if that's a formal question. In fact, I don't know. I know that there's a scientific explanation. I know that I've read it somewhere, but actually I don't off the top of my head. Marcy asks, is Amazon Prime usable on smart TVs in Puerto Vallarta? Yes, although you may find that your particular brand of smart TV offers the application or not. What a lot of us do is either we have a Roku stick or Amazon TV. They're both hardware devices, or maybe we have an iPad or an iPhone. So there are different ways to be able to get some of these networks that are only available through the internet and on demand. I hear that Mrs. Connie's empanadas house on Olas Altas are great. And of course, we know that our dear friend, the cookie lady, is now making empanadas. Frank O'Grady says, when are you going to take Anita day off? Thank you very much for the kind wishes. Not in the very near future. I'm starting to film a whole series of video capsules that are what in the lingo we called evergreen content, things that one can share with others and are not time specific or time sensitive. So if I feel that one of these days I absolutely need to take a day later, a day off, um, I will put together a whole series of capsules, and maybe I'll put them together and share them with you in that fashion. Is Yosemite a Spanish word? Well, first of all, I hope I am saying it properly. I have always, and this is Mexican ignorance, I have always associated the word or thought that the word had a relationship with some of the Indian tribes that are indigenous to the United States, but I actually don't know for a fact. Again, I still think that it is called Yosemite, um, and was very amused and saddened to see what happened with President Trump. For that matter, there's a part of me that wishes we could all take what I call a coma pill, and just we could just wake up, go to sleep, and wake up sometime in December or maybe January when COVID will be a little bit better and the U.S. elections will be over, and we will know what the outcome of that is going to be. But of course, this doesn't exist. It only exists in my imagination. Um, Ernie sent some really nice words. Thank you very much. Um, we have a good time. We definitely have a good time. And Douglas, again, um, I think I think El Arrayan is still open. I think El Arrayan is also making their chiles en nogada to go. I suggest you get in touch with El Arrayan through their Facebook page, where you will find more information, and they are definitely worth it, very much so. And thank you for giving me this vote of confidence. I feel a little bit more American today. Yay! Oh, check it out. Stacy shares a beautiful explanation with all of us uh, about the origin of the word. Thank you very much. And Logan gives us another one. So he is a bit of a nerd. I love how you all nurture one another, and you nurture me on a daily basis. And with that thought in mind, this is a good time to pause today and resume tomorrow. As always, I'm so very, very grateful for the opportunity of sharing knowledge and information and comments and inspiration with everybody that joins us on a regular basis. It is much appreciated. I certainly hope that it is as fun and as entertaining for you. As you know, we are a community-based project. If you found something useful, helpful, inspiring, or simply amusing, consider buying us a coffee. Luna always appreciates the attention. Of course, right now she's very busy taking notes. Look at her. She is just like, what do you mean I have to put together the show notes? Of course you have to put together the show notes, little one, so that everybody can find out what's going on in the city and what's going on and what are we talking about. So off I go. I'm going to help Luna put together those show notes for you, including, and I'm going to say it out loud so that I won't forget it, the one for the website for the restaurants in Versalles. And I hope you will stay healthy, stay safe, stay happy, stay kind, stay patient, and stay in touch. Have an awesome day today.